Welcome to our first webinar in the Intelligence Operations series. My name is Laura Krennick and I'm on the Intelligence team here at Esri. Your presenters today are Wendy Creighton and Ken Mitchell. In today's webinar, we will be discussing ways to quickly detect, understand, and share intelligence for situational awareness between the field and operations to facilitate decision-making. You may ask questions at any time during the webinar through the questions box on your right, and we will provide answers during the Q&A section at the end of the webinar. There will also be survey questions when you exit, and we ask you please take a moment to complete the questions so we may continue to present on topics that are useful to you. This webinar is being recorded and will be posted on the same page you registered from. I now turn over the webinar to Wendy.
Good morning. My name is Wendy Creighton, and I'm an intelligence specialist here at Esri. I have 20 years experience working with defense and intelligence organizations, focusing on security and intelligence operations. Today I will be presenting with Ken Mitchell. Ken, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Ken Mitchell. I'm a solution engineer with Esri supporting the national government. I've been with the company for 2 years and have over 5 years experience working with the defense and intelligence customers. Back to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Ken. Successful military operations depend on accurate, up-to-date field conditions and intelligence. Sharing timely information between field units and operations centers can be a challenge. Today, we are going to discuss how field units can use web maps and apps in a secure, collaborative environment to collect and share information. We will see how collected data can be sent to operations centers, where it can easily be integrated with other intelligence information. The result is improved collaboration, decision-making, and response time. The global challenges we face today are more complex than ever before. A vast number of issues may not lie completely within a single nation state, and they don't necessarily fit neatly into traditional military or diplomatic roles. To respond, our systems and our workflows need to be dynamic, adept, and easy to use. In addition to the increasing need for understanding of a complex threat environment, we also have many new technological developments. There is an explosion of new sources of information, drones, consumer devices, social media, and real-time reporting. The volume of data and sources is growing exponentially, and critical decisions need to be made fast to ensure mission success. This new data also creates demands for applications that provide access to information and the ability to analyze and visualize it. These advancements are closely tied to technology trends with an emphasis on computing power and storage. Additionally, there is a growing demand for actionable intelligence. Information is needed that is timely and in many cases real-time, that provides location or spatial context. Location intelligence can reveal relationships and patterns that may otherwise be missed. This information also needs to be discoverable, accessible, and easy to use. GIS helps us address these challenges and solve real-world intelligence problems. Geospatial technology provides a fundamental framework where we can organize and integrate our data. We can visualize and analyze the relationships and the patterns. We can conduct predictive and forensic analysis. We can also accomplish design and planning activities. Ultimately, we can make informed decisions based on the information and the intelligence products created, then take appropriate action. When you think about this process, it looks a lot like the intelligence cycle. GIS is, in fact, a framework to create integrated, multi-intelligence products that inform decision-making. GIS also simplifies working with all types of data. It allows analysts to work with imagery, tabular, and vector data within both 2D and 3D environments in real time. Apps bring the power of GIS to everyone, extending the reach of information to field personnel, non-GIS experts, and decision makers, connecting them to their data, their organization, and beyond. GIS by its nature is a platform for integrating data analysis from multiple intelligence disciplines and connecting intelligence production to operations. GIS enables the convergence of operations and intelligence. As a result, GIS supports the planning and execution of multiple missions through sharing of information, collaboration, and decisive action. GIS integrates people, technology, and processes. To see this in action, I'm going to turn it over to Ken.
Thank you, Wendy. Every organization has a starting point, a place where you start to bring in information together to understand the dynamics as well as the situational awareness for a particular area of interest. And this is where we're going to start today. Using a dashboard, I can provide a common operating picture over our area of interest, which is in and around the Tripoli district in northwestern Libya. In this dashboard, I've added different elements such as the global terrorism database, known control areas, major cities, as well as the area for our base of operations. Around the map, you'll see different widgets providing information through charts, graphs, and lists. Now, as I pan around and zoom in and out of the map, each of the charts or the widgets will start to change based on what's in the current display of the map. While this provides some context for our AOI, we'll continually add more information as we go through this webinar today. So when we start discussing focused applications, there are three primary areas: the planning and collection, exploitation and analysis, and then production and dissemination. Each of these areas has different applications underneath them, and for the purposes of this webinar, we'll be focusing on some of the applications from the collection and analysis, highlighting how they can be integrated with one another. With field operations, this chart provides an overview of where the different applications across the enterprise can be leveraged as a process in the field operations. With each of these applications, they provide different capabilities that can be leveraged and integrated across the enterprise. We'll skip over ArcGIS Pro for now, as we'll be discussing this application later in the webinar. With Workforce, this is the coordination application, as it provides you with the ability to track your workforce, assign assignments, as well as, excuse me, as well as be able to connect this to other applications such as Navigator, Collector, and Survey 123. As I mentioned, Navigator is one of the applications that connects with Workforce, and through this application, we can route from one location to another. Now, what sets this application apart from other routing application is the ability to add your own features to the map, such as specific route names, friendly locations, as well as potential hotspot areas if you're traveling from one point to another. Now, another application that can be connected through Workforce is Survey 123. With Survey 123, we can create custom smart forms that can work across multiple devices. We can equip your workers with mobile devices to capture this information in any environment with minimal training. Collector allows you to continue to work and capture information on your map and within your GIS. Now, each of these applications can work in both a connected and disconnected environment. We'll now switch over to see how some of these applications can be leveraged. Starting in Workforce as a dispatcher, I can see all of the current assignments, their priority level, as well as who they've been assigned to. Additionally, I can select the workers at the bottom right to understand how the assignments have been scheduled out. Now, creating an assignment as a dispatcher in Workforce is easy to do. It's simply selecting the assignments in the upper right, pick an assignment type, search for a location, well, I can select that, or I can drag and drop on the map itself, assign it to an individual, provide a priority, as well as a due date. Now, the ID is something that can be related, such as an RFI number or a specific report that you want to reference to for the task or the assignment that we're creating. We can provide additional information as well as provide any attachments and then create the assignment. Now, transitioning over to the worker, I'll be notified when new assignments are assigned to me. Using my phone, I can take a look and see those assignments by priority level as of now. The new assignment that was assigned to me just came in. Additionally, I have the ability to let the dispatchers know or my officers know what status I am. Am I working? Am I on break? Or am I done for today? Now I can click on an assignment to get more information about it. Now, one thing that I want to highlight is that the assignment that I created in Workforce, the village name as well as the geographical location transitioned over into the application. And when I go to select the survey for this area, that will be carried over as well. Once we see this information, we can either start it, decline it, or if we've already completed this prior to getting the information, we can finish it. I'm going to go ahead and start it and then fill out the form. As I mentioned a moment ago, the village name already transitions over. We have the date of the clear, as well as the geographical location of where it was assigned. I'll fill out the rest of the information and say there's 12 individuals there. We found a weapons cache, let's say small arms. Additionally, with this survey, if there was more information, we could capture that with an image and then submit it. Now, finally, the one thing that I want to note is that everything that we're working on and I've shown can be leveraged across the platform as the results are being stored as hosted services. Back to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Ken. Ken has shown us how we can optimize field collection and use this information through mission-focused apps. It is important to point out that many of these apps can be configured to be used in a disconnected or limited bandwidth environment. Many of these apps are also free and available to anyone in an organization to use. This field data can be used to supplement other information for analysis and be used in intelligence products and reports. ArcGIS is a platform for intelligence. It is designed to ingest and display data from multiple types of sensors and apply various tools to reveal patterns and relationships. This analysis can be used to make a number of different intelligence products across multiple intelligence disciplines. I'm going to highlight a few tools that can focus on analysis and production. Military Tools is a collection of essential tools that reduce the time, complexity, and ultimately the cost of performing routine analysis and creating common products for defense, intelligence, and other tactical operations. The Military Tools toolbar, or ribbon, includes tools for coordinate conversion, for converting from one format to many others, distance and direction, for creating geodetic tiles, circles, ellipses, and range rings, visibility for performing radial and linear line of sight analysis, and the military symbol editor. Military Tools is free and can be downloaded at go.esri.com/militarytools. Using GeoEvents Server, organizations can ingest and visualize data from sensors and Internet of Things devices. Operations centers can monitor and track assets and activities in real time. In regards to big data, GIS tools make geoprocessing and spatial analysis faster and scale out to hundreds of thousands of observations or billions of observations. Raster or large image collections can now be processed leveraging distributed computing and parallel processing. Common tasks of image processing can go on at scale and be almost immediately delivered. One of the key components for analysis and production are the desktop applications ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro. ArcGIS Pro is the modern desktop GIS. Desktop users can now leverage true 64-bit processing. ArcGIS Pro has a ribbon interface and contextual tabs which make it easy to use and declutters the desktop environment. Analysts can easily access and use data from ArcGIS Online and data within your own enterprise. Since this application is fully integrated with other apps we have seen today, analysts can experience improved data sharing and collaboration. Analysts can also work in multiple maps and layouts, including 2D and 3D, with linked views. Also included is easy-to-use search and query functions to include a clickable query builder with no SQL required. To show you some of these analysis capabilities and how it all comes together, I'm going to turn it back over to Ken.
Thank you, Wendy. There are many different types of workflows and possibilities for conducting analysis in our desktop applications, whether you're using ArcGIS Pro or ArcMap. For today, I would like to highlight and go over a workflow that several of our customers ask us about. How do we relate two disparate features or two disparate data sets and find out where they are both close in distance and in time to one another? Thus, we are looking for the pairings between dataset A and dataset B, rather than the distance from dataset A to A and B to B. Now, there are several different ways to accomplish this, but for today, I want to highlight and go over a series of models. Please note that I've previously ran the model so that we can look at the end results rather than watching the slider go. I want to start by showing you the data sets that we'll be using. These are the GPS locations for individuals. Dataset A, or person A, is our target individual, and we want to know where they are close by distance and time to person B. The first model focuses on finding the space or the distance between the two individuals. Now, while this looks like a lot of steps, the main purpose of this is to actually create an origin distance matrix to find those distances between those. The results is a table that looks like this, which will be leveraged and used in our next model. The second portion finds the temporal aspect, or the second model finds the temporal aspects, leveraging the distance and time that was created in the table. This will create, or the output of this will create lines. Now, the shorter lines mean that the objects are closer together, while longer lines mean that they're further apart. Besides creating the lines for the space distance, the model also finds the temporal difference by leveraging a layer symbology to the display of the results. The darker, thicker lines means that the events or the locations that have happened are roughly at the same time, while lighter and thinner lines represent a greater difference in time between the points. And once this is ran, the results can look something like this. We can start to show where those time differences are, as well as the close proximity between these features. The final model looks at the accepted distance fields for both of the points and highlights the pairings where the distance of the line is acceptable to both points in the pairing itself. Once the analysis is complete with this model, the results display in a red line highlighting those pairs where both points are acceptable. And once we complete all of this analysis, we can then share the results to the portal, enabling others across the organization to leverage for their own workflows. So far, we've gone through a few different workflows, but how do we incorporate this information, such as seeing the results of the assignments or the status of our workers? Coming back to Operations Dashboard, we can leverage these services and workflows, as well as bring in additional information such as Twitter and other social media feeds. Now, Operations Dashboard provides an organization that common operating picture to monitor and respond to day-to-day events. It is designed to support a full spectrum of devices, platforms from multiple monitor video walls found within an operations center to a touchscreen tablet, whether that be Android or iOS. Conceptually, there are going to be two individuals or two types of people who use the dashboard. One is going to be a publisher who creates operational views or dashboards, and the others are going to be the individuals that consume the views. Now, before we move into and examine the final dashboard, I want to actually show you how we can create a couple of widgets within Operations Dashboard. And to begin with, everything that we're going to show starts with the information in the web map. If the information is not in the web map, we're not going to be able to create that widget that could be beneficial or meaningful. Using the plus arrow along the top, I'm first going to start off by creating an indicator. And for the data, I want to leverage the checkpoint stops. Now, what this is showing me with the number 8 is the total number of checkpoint stops that have come back from the survey that we've sent out, or for the individuals at the checkpoints conducting those. Under the indicator, I can provide a little bit more information, such as vehicle searches for the title. And then I can also include a graphic to the left or right. Depending on your choice of color, we can also change that to make it more meaningful. Once you've created the card, it'll add like this, and we can simply move it by using the drag item. Additionally, I want to create a list as well of the individuals or the workers that are currently in my unit. And very similar, I'll hit the plus arrow as well as select list. From here, I'll select the workers and then hit done. Very similar, I'll drag the information above the vehicle searches. Now, one of the great things with Operations Dashboard is the ability to start changing the size and shape of the widgets that are being shown. Once we're done, we can hit save and then share this out to the rest of the organization. So let's take a look at our final dashboard. Very similar to our initial dashboard, we're still displaying the global terrorism databases, or the database. However, you'll notice we've also added several new widgets as well. One of the things that I want to highlight and that I mentioned a moment ago is the ability to bring in social media feeds. Currently, we're bringing in Twitter feeds and using a keyword search of ISIS. So as the feeds start coming in and the word ISIS is within the tweet, we get a notification and we can see that count. Of the 136 tweets that have come in so far, well, now 139, 77 have had ISIS as a keyword. Behind that, we can take a look at the list of each of those tweets, and if I select an item, we'll go directly to its geospatial location. Now I want to highlight a couple of the other cards as well, such as the assignments completed. The assignment that was sent out earlier through Workforce, add it to the total, so I have a total of 8. And of those, we've only completed 1. And that shows up as this green circle here. Additionally, I've added in other information from other forms, such as seeing the villages that have been cleared, the items from that clear, and then the total number of individuals that were present at the time of the search. Through Operations Dashboard, we can provide a clear understanding of day-to-day operations and how this influences our next go-around. Back to you, Wendy.
Thanks, Ken. You have really shown us how ArcGIS leverages web technologies and integrated apps to share and collaborate for improved situational awareness and informed decision-making. These technologies can be used across all levels of command, all integrated, all working off the same map. Today, you have seen how ArcGIS is a platform that enables your organization with the tools to manage and use data from multiple intelligence and open sources. It can leverage your current workflows and analyst tradecraft, empower your workforce with integrated, configurable apps, and inform decision makers and operators with timely, accurate, and essential information. We're now going to open it up for questions.
Thank you, Wendy and Ken. We'd like to give you all the opportunity to get your specific questions answered. Please use the questions tabs on your right to type in your questions, and we will answer them here live. I do see a couple coming in already, so let's go ahead and start with the first question. I have here, someone wants to know, where are you getting the live feeds that you showed in the dashboard today? Ken, would you like to answer that?
Yeah, I can answer that one. The feeds that we're actually bringing in was a Twitter pool and leveraging that information through GeoEvent. GeoEvent is a server that allows us to bring in live data, and Twitter just happens to be one of the functionalities or one of the feeds that we can bring into this into the server itself.
Okay, great. Thank you. We also have a question asking, what's the best way to integrate insights for ArcGIS with what you showed today?
While we did not show Insights specifically today, Insights is another application that is a part of our portal, ArcGIS Online and portal solutions. The best way to actually incorporate that and send it out is not only through the pages or the tradecraft that comes from it, but we can start to embed those your work that is conducted in Insights through story maps and leverage that capability through there.
Okay, thank you. I have another question here, and this says, can you load GPS data from telephone providers into ArcGIS?
Yes, we can actually load in GPS location from telephone providers. The main thing that you'll need is the geographic coordinates, so the Latin long. Once we have those, we can bring it in and then conduct any type of analysis or conduct analysis suited for your needs.
What other feeds can be integrated into these systems other than Twitter?
So outside of social media feeds, we can bring in GPS feeds from, say, ships, AIS, planes. We can bring in cell phone locations if you have that and you're tracking. With workforce, one of the options is the ability to track your workforce, and your workers have that application open, you can see where they're at and how and where they've moved to. So use that as a breadcrumb that can be fed through GeoEvent. Other feeds that can be brought in is leveraging Excel documents or your CVSs, GeoJSON, JSON, and RSS feeds are just a few of those that can be brought in.
We have another question that says, will all of the dashboard functionalities be available in future Web App Builder developer editions?
My understanding with Operations Dashboard is we're continuing to open up all of the APIs for web app for development. I do not exactly know when all of it will be released, but from my understanding is we're going to continue to open up, just similar to the rest of our platform, open up the APIs to allow for custom dashboards and custom development.
Perfect, thank you. We have another question. What file format does the GPS data have to be in order to load it into ArcGIS?
The file format that I brought the information in and then created a feature off of it was actually just a Excel document. The information that was sent to us, again, was in an Excel document. Leveraging the X and Y or Latin long, I was able to display that information and then create a feature off of that. Now, we can also bring in other GPS locations. So if it is a link in ArcGIS Pro, one of the things that we can do is add an item from a path. So if you have GPS locations already on a portal or ArcGIS Online, we can bring that information into the desktop to allow you to conduct further analysis or even the potential of exporting features out based on the permissions, so you can then manipulate it how you need to.
That was a great question and great answer. Thanks so much, Ken. Here's another one. Is there any way to integrate real-time weather data, and what type of service should it be?
So yes, one of the things that we can do is actually bring in weather data. Currently, right now, it's I know NOAA as well as the Canadian Meteorological Services on ArcGIS Online already have weather feeds that actually is updated as a WMS every 5 minutes. What you can do in order to leverage those is bring those in as a service and leverage what someone else is creating. That way you can have better situational awareness of the weather coming in, whether it's clouds or rain or other severe type of weather.
Okay, perfect. And then we have another question here. Can I use the same model builder process in ArcMap and ArcGIS Pro?
That unfortunately can't happen. Transitioning from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro is a one-way street. We can bring in the models, we can bring in the map documents into ArcGIS Pro. However, once you start manipulating the information of your model in Pro, it cannot be opened into ArcMap. So that would require you to kind of recreate or redo any of the steps that you've edited from ArcMap to ArcGIS Pro. Additionally, if you're running any Python scripts within your model, ArcGIS Pro leverages Python 3.4, 3.5, to whereas ArcMap is still in Python 2.7.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And we have another question. Will ArcGIS import a KML file?
Yes. ArcMap as well as ArcGIS Pro to include our online ArcGIS Online and Enterprise can work with KMLs. We do have some processes to where we can export the KMLs as a feature. With another application that we have, ArcGIS Earth, we can bring in time-enabled KMLs as well and run those through and show that geographically as well.
Okay, perfect. We have one more question here, and it says, is there training available for configuring and using these apps? Ken, I'll go ahead and answer this one. We actually do have a 2-day
Okay.
instructor-led field data collection and management training course. So I'll go ahead and put a link in the chat box if you would like to learn more about that. I'm going to go ahead and end the questions there, but we will move on with a couple extra slides. If you guys are interested in continuing to see some of the other webinars that we have in this series, we will have our next webinar on April 18th, and that will cover working in a disconnected environment. We have our webinar following that on May 9th, which will go more in depth into operations dashboard and situational awareness. On May 23rd, we have apps for field collection. So we'll go into the various apps for field collection and go more in depth into these. Additionally, if you'd like to see us in person, we do have a defense and intelligence user engagement series across the United States and internationally. So here's our list of different events that we'll be hosting this year. You can learn more about each of these by visiting go.esri.com/DI for defense intel -series. So if you'd like to come visit us and meet with some solution engineers and see workflows for your industry, please do check out this series. I think it'll be of great interest to you. Finally, we hope that you enjoyed today's webinar. We will have a link to the recording sent out in an email, and we hope that you'll stick around and answer the questions that will pop up after you leave the webinar. Thanks again. Have a great day.